Recently, when I was surfing through YouTube, looking for a cool piece of Minecraft horror media to watch, amidst all the fog walking simulators and the mass-produced Andrew slop, I found a channel that took me completely by surprise. Shroompie is the name, and I found and clicked on it by accident, thinking it would be a cutesy art project made in Minecraft, but I could not have been more wrong. And what I'm about to say was said in hundreds of other ARG analysis type videos like this who have used this beaten to death template for an intro, and it lost its meaning. Even I kinda did it once, but this time I need you to trust me, listen to me, and believe me when I say that it actually turned out to be the most disturbing thing I have found on this platform made through the Minecraft medium. It is the darkest, most disturbing, nerve-wracking, and absolutely heart-wrenching story hidden away on a channel I'm surprised no one is talking about. A piece of horror media that begins as a silly but typical Minecraft nostalgia channel that turns to a strange fever dream to then genuine depression in video form. It left me dumbfounded by the way it messed with my mind and how much it affected me. What we're getting into is a very complicated series with an unclear timeline that's left for you and me to figure out, as well as multiple series within the channel, and you most likely get the picture, but just to be safe, it's gonna include some really heavy topics later on, so you've been warned. And this is the story of Shroompie. The channel's description is pretty simple. Regular Minecraft oddities. I make Minecraft videos. Currently playing beta 1.7.3. Shroompie consists of 32 videos in total, with most of them being relatively short. We're gonna start by talking about the first 5 videos, which I'm gonna try to breeze through as there's not much to say about them. The first video, titled "Sometimes My World Feels Odd," was posted on October 28th of 2024, with the description simply stating, odd, with a bunch of mushroom emojis and them saying they bought C418's track key to use it for their video. The video is a slideshow showing what's presumably Shroompie's base and random things surrounding it. We can't really get many details from it, besides that there seems to be a lot of mushrooms around them, a pig is present in 2 of the screenshots, and that the atmosphere is very melancholic and the base looks a little lonely. But that's very easy to achieve with VHS filter and old Minecraft screenshots and music. For now, nothing out of the ordinary. On the same day, Sometimes Worlds Get Forgotten was posted. It follows a similar tone. It shows Shroompie walking atop a mountain, appearing like maybe they're looking for something, or maybe scouting out a potential building spot. As the sun begins setting, the song Key plays again. Alongside it, the VHS filter grows in intensity. Once the track ends, it fills up the screen while Shroompie walks to the edge of a mountain and stares at the moon. A day later, on October 29th, we get another upload, "You Are a Stranger to This World." Shroompie continues to include mushroom emojis and the song used for the video, with the actual description saying, "The world sees you as a stranger while you try to carve out a safe space to call home." The video doesn't have much in it. It's a player wandering through a world with a random set of items in their inventory. The track Key once again accompanies them while they walk. However, the song isn't long enough to cover the entire video, and at some point all we're left with is the uncomfortable silence of the world and buzzing coming from the VHS tape. Shroompie walks until nightfall, and the video ends. The next 2 uploads are nearly identical to each other, only distinguishable by the lack of the filter on the second one. Minecraft nostalgia, but you don't reminisce. you live it. It's a slideshow with a lot of screenshots from Shroompie's world that features almost all pictures from the first video except 2. If you pay very close attention, you can actually see the area where their base was made, but before any buildings were created, and also the mountain where the last video ended. This leads me to believe it's some sort of photo time-lapse, and we should probably look out for the rest of the images going forward. The next video is titled, Are You Okay? And here we get introduced to our first character of the series. Heed the wisdom of the wise sheep.
Player? You okay? You stuck or something? Oh, I see. It's the nostalgia again, huh? That's what C418's music does to people. At least he's too busy to kill me. Look, he's crying. Listen, dwelling on the past is pointless. You will never go back to the good old days, but you can create the good present days. Stop standing like an oak tree. Don't let nostalgia consume you. Act. Your time is limited. Use it wisely. Heed my words. Let's go.
You realize your time is limited, but C418 just hits so hard that you can't help but think that one day you will place your last block without realizing it. Shroompie is clearly in distress. They're standing motionless in the middle of a forest, listening to C418's Clark. In the distance, we can see their base. For some reason, they stopped dead in their tracks and they're refusing to move. A sheep walks into frame and talks to Shroompie, or as they call them, Player. Somehow, Sheep figures out what's going on and decides to give Player advice. Sheep tries to soothe and console them about their sadness over old memories, saying they should focus on making the present be worthy of becoming those good old days in the future. The Player knows the dangers of letting nostalgia fester their mind, but they just can't shake off the awful feeling of knowing that one day they're gonna play for one last time. Are You Okay is a very intriguing video. It may seem a little silly and as generic as it can get with the placing your one last block messaging, but I couldn't help but notice a few things that made it feel just a little bit off, like it's something more than just nostalgia bait. The sheep isn't presented as a normal mob. It appears to be aware it's in a game. It knows the music composer, talks about nostalgia and how bad it can be for the human spirit. It recognizes the character as Player and knows his gender. And lastly, it says 2 things that are surprisingly uncomfortable. At the 15-second mark, a strange whining-like noise plays, like a cassette or a VHS tape being played back, and the sheep says, "At least he's too busy to kill me." It comes out of nowhere, and it honestly goes in one ear and goes out the other. By the end, you forget it was said because it was so out of left field. The other thing is the acknowledgement of the Player crying while staring directly onto them. Like it knows what the person behind the screen is doing. See what I mean? It's such a silly video in retrospect, but there's just enough weirdness to keep you interested and to not skip the channel. For now, we have to move on, but definitely keep this video in mind. When you come back to your Minecraft world after a break is a short one, only 19 seconds long, and it consists of Shroompie, or Player, showing a little sign saying subscribe if you love Minecraft, and then proceeding to jump from a cliff in their base. They expected to land in a moat they thought they built, but they overestimated how big it was and landed on the ground, depleting half their health. It's a confusing upload, to be sure, but it's not a lot, so I can't tell you much about it either. Next is Creepers Feel Lonely Too. Shroompie builds the moat that they thought was already built, and you can notice they've definitely spent a little bit of time playing. You can tell by a dugout tunnel that in the previous video was barely touched. Shroompies focused on building their moat, and they don't hear a creeper sneak up on them. It explodes, and they have a pretty strong reaction. While the video itself is pretty normal, when we take a look at the thumbnail, we see that apparently the creeper spoke to them before exploding. LYCCS DCFOYU. I instantly looked for any signs of the ciphers that I'm aware of. I then put it through a decoder, thought that maybe it's some very obscure language, but I found nothing. However, since the next video's title is Creeper Spoke to Me, we might get some clues very soon. I think a creeper spoke to me, but I couldn't make out a word. I should seek the wise sheep to help me decipher those words. Or maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe I should go to sleep.
Creeper? What do you want? I won't let you in. What did it say? Seems like it's gone.
Shroompie is trapped inside of a hut we've seen in screenshots from previous uploads. They're dealing with a creeper looking at them from the outside and following their every move. When they leave the hut to possibly try to kill it or lure it away, the creeper speaks to Shroompie, or more accurately, to Player. Whenever the person speaks, the name Player shows up instead. It's like they adopted that name from when the wise sheep spoke to them. Looking at what the creeper said, it's once again a cipher. One that looks identical to the cipher we've seen before. It's still illegible, and even Shroompie, or Player, doesn't understand what it said. They hear it, but don't know what it could possibly mean. The creeper proceeds to fall into a cave, but before Player can take a look at it, a rewind sound plays, and they're moved a bit further away. They start walking back to the hut, but before they can make it, the video cuts after the VHS effect strengthens, and we see the creeper reappear in the window in the last few frames. We got some more lines of the cipher from the creeper here, but the video doesn't push us further into solving what this could mean. However, if we take a closer look into its description, we can notice a link to a video called Are You Sure You Want to Know? Player has gone out looking for the wise sheep to seek help with understanding Creeper's words. He's been looking for a whole day, but he cannot find them. He stumbles upon a cave, and he has a pretty fearful reaction.
No. Not the dark, suspicious caves.
He begins to question whether the things he heard from the creeper were real or not, and says he should probably think it over after getting some sleep. This marks the second time he attributes weird things happening due to lack of sleep. Just as he decides to give up his search, the wise sheep appears up ahead.
What a coincidence.
What brought you to me, Player?
I need your help. I think a creeper spoke to me, but I didn't understand anything.
What did it say?
It said, and...
Are you sure you want to know the meaning?
Now that you're asking,
To know or not to know? Which do you choose?
I want to know.
Then here's a riddle to unveil the truth. The keys are within your grasp. Your fingertips will guide the path. The music greater meaning holds. Listen till the truth unfolds.
The player was left confused as he hoped for a straightforward answer.
At least you have more time to decide if you truly want to know.
Thank you, wise sheep. You're truly wise.
I'm just a sheep.
The player stood still, watching the sunset, pondering which is better.
Neither is better.
To remain ignorant or learn the truth that may turn your world upside down.
The true better would have been to go to sleep instead of looking for me.
I know. But the anxiety of doubt wouldn't let me sleep.
Right. You won't sleep tonight.
The player wondered if it was too late to pretend nothing ever happened.
Too late. Unless you're dreaming.
The player wondered if he was actually dreaming.
Wait, how do you know what I'm thinking?
Okay, there is a bit to unpack here. First of all, this is probably not just nothing unusual anymore, and it seems like we're starting to see a story forming in front of us. Second, we've got a riddle to solve that apparently will help us understand the mysterious cipher, plus we have another encoded message right at the end of the video. The keys are within your grasp. Your fingertips will guide the path. The music greater meaning holds. Listen till the truth unfolds. Okay, so the music has been an often highlighted part of the series. Whenever there was a song present, it would be credited in the description. Looking at the 3 videos in which the cipher appears, only 2 have songs in them. A Creeper Spoke to Me has the song Dog, Are You Sure You Want to Know has Sweden, and Creepers Feel Lonely Too has Nothing. One of them not having a song is a bit worrying, but we still have to figure out what even the purpose of the songs is in the first place. The keys are within your grasp, your fingertips will guide the path. At first I thought it would be a fully musical cipher. Maybe the notes of the songs played on a keyboard or a piano could somehow translate the messages. But the keys are within your grasp wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Not everybody has a musical instrument within their grasp. And then I realized, oh yeah, what is a thing with keys everybody has close by while watching and uses fingertips to operate it? Well, technically, also a keyboard. We have songs, a keyboard, and the knowledge our fingertips will guide the path. So let's say the song Sweden corresponds with IJBODH, which was what the sheep said at the end of this video. Both Sweden and the phrase have 6 letters. Maybe we need to move 6 letters on the keyboard. We have to make a path, I guess. If we move 6 keys to the right, the phrase gives us just a jumble of nothingness. But if we go to the left, it spells out WAKEUP. Wake up. That would mean the cipher is based on specific songs and the amount of letters in their names. If we go to the video with dog, I assume it's gonna be 3 keys. LYCDEY with 3 keys to the left spells out help me, and DCYFGY spells out please. Okay, we got it. Now we can come back to the thumbnail with the creeper, which after the coding says hello player. Another mob is specifically calling Shroompie player. Or maybe I'm wrongly calling player Shroompie. I mean, do they call Shroompie player because they see them as a player? Or is it their actual name? Is there even a distinction? Also, what do the other messages mean? Why would the creeper need help? And why is it so urgent? The sheep said, wake up. So does that mean player is dreaming? Or is it more of like a wake up call wanting player to notice something? This is getting weird. There is one other thing from this video worth pointing out. Player doesn't like caves that much. At all, actually. We don't have an explanation why the fear is there and why is it so strong, but a thing I picked up on is the VHS filter spikes right before he enters and goes down once he leaves. It lingers for a while up to the middle of the screen and then drops to the bottom. It has been doing that in the previous video a tiny bit, but I thought it might have been the animation looping. Well, when we look closer on the times it spiked in here and the previous video, it only does whenever something stressful happens. They hit the creeper and get a little startled, they go back to the hut and the creeper is there again, so they're terrified. They don't want to go into a cave, they panic, an uncomfortable question is asked, a realization they won't sleep again tonight sets in. I think the VHS filter has some functionality to it. It might be telling us how the character feels in the moment, or at least if they are anxious about something happening to them. If proven true, it might be useful in the future. when you suddenly notice and appreciate how beautiful it is.
There are times when you're so busy building your world. That suddenly, you notice just how beautiful it truly is. And you feel happy to be a part of this world. Even for a brief moment.
This video is a lot more mellow and seems to be about player, or Shroompie since it's not specified, finding their world beautiful in a moment of bliss. The player tried to fall asleep, but unfortunately, insomnia wouldn't let him. A strange song was playing in his head, a melody he was sure he'd never heard before. Strange sounds, were they real or hallucinations? The player wouldn't know, as he wasn't even sure whether he was dreaming or trying to dream. Insomnia gives us a few clues and a few new questions to answer at the same time, and it definitely leaves us just as dazed and confused as it does player. Player goes into their little hut and tries desperately to fall asleep, while the disc chirp plays in the background, a music disc that did not exist in the game until Beta 1.9 pre-release 2, and was unobtainable until release 1.1. The description tells us that the player has never heard the melody before and it's foreign to them. So how and why is it playing at that very moment? Whenever the player tries to go to sleep, the VHS filter spikes, and shortly after they get woken up by mobs. The first time they click the bed, the text "This bed is occupied" appears, to which again the VHS filter spikes. The text is not fully visible, but it's safe to assume it is that prompt. This could be a sign that this is not actually happening and the bed is occupied because the player is already in it, having a nightmare of having to go through the process of trying to sleep again. After their final kill, their axe breaks, and as they lay down on the bed, the screen begins to shake and we hear footsteps approaching the house. Then, someone opens the door and starts breaking a block while a coded message pops up on the screen. Translating it by using the cipher with the name chirp, we get, "Have you forgotten?" Not only do we not know who that was, but we don't know their intentions or what they meant by this pretty ominous message. So, we're clearly dealing with someone with a sleeping disorder or someone who is starting to develop one. The protagonist has been showing awareness of this problem, blaming weird happenings on their bad sleeping habits, and here we get the ultimate confirmation that something is terribly wrong. Their lack of sleep is so bad that they're starting to not discern reality from dream, possibly hallucinating a song playing that they've never heard before. This still doesn't really answer the question of what were the oddities in this video and the previous one. Were they actually hallucinations we've been perceiving through the protagonist's eyes? Were they dreams? Is what they're even saying true? At this point, we can't be sure. The next video is Night Stroll. It's 3 minutes of Shroompie silently walking around their base for no apparent reason. It's more of a break before the next video, a long and significant one in the series. A little lonely. Player is on the way back to his base after refilling buckets for the moat. For some reason, a big group of pigs have spawned right where he wanted to continue building. Player seems to be confused, but not unfamiliar with the pigs. They start talking about the moat, and things go a little sideways.
Pigs? How odd.
Hello, player.
What are you doing here?
Just hanging around.
Thought you were feeling lonely.
I don't feel lonely. I'm busy building a moat.
Why?
Yes, why build a moat?
Well, to feel safe, mostly from creepers. I also love having large bodies of water around.
I see. A moat won't save you from the inevitable.
Inevitable? What do you mean? Hey, I think your friend died. Hold on, I'll help you.
I'm fine. That hurt.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to save you.
Wouldn't you kill me anyways? If I wasn't trapped?
Maybe, but now it's different. I don't want to see you drown in front of me. That should help you escape. They should be fine.
The conversation is awkward and tense, especially with the words, "A moat won't save you from the inevitable," and "Wouldn't you kill me anyways if I wasn't trapped?" As I said, it appears that Player and the group of pigs already know each other to some extent. It feels like there's a conflict between them, like Player might have done something to them in the past. Some pigs are definitely friendlier towards him than the others, but it's all just tense. At one point, one of the pigs drowns, though that doesn't trigger any big reaction out of anybody. Shortly after, Player tries to help another pig out of the moat, but they don't accept the help, and Player goes back to refill the buckets once again. When he comes back, there's more pig meat at the bottom of the moat. All but 2 of them drowned. One pig is still in the moat and starts bashing Player for what he's done, to which he answers with silence.
Why did you do this? No. My family, my friend. God, why?
Player seems like a completely different person. They start filling up the boat more and more, not caring about the pig, going into his house, cooking their remains, and questioning why he even bothered to try to save them. In the background, you can hear the second last pig fully drown. About half a minute later, Dry Hand starts playing, and Player realizes now it does feel a little weird and lonely without them. A few days pass, and a pig shows up at Player's doorstep, specifically Pig 5.
Are you sure you want to be here?
Yeah.
They both walk out of the house and go to a weird monument-like structure built inside the moat.
Do it.
Turns out, it's a memorial, or a grave for Pig 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pig 5 was a part of the group. He walks around distressed and keeps jumping in the water while Player puts the pieces of the meat left from the pigs in a chest.
What are you doing? I don't want to add end Pig 5. I understand it's hard, but you have to move on. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay.
Grieve as long and as much as you need.
You're a very kind player.
Player goes back to their house straight away without a word, while Pig 5 stays near the memorial. Player looks back at him and says,
You won't do anything stupid, right?
The screen cuts to Player in front of the grave, now with Pig 5 added to the sign. A Little Lonely is a video with a lot going on, and currently we don't have much to go on, but we can theorize, of course. The group of pigs is the main thing the video revolves around, and we have to figure out who they are from the perspective of player. We know they're aware of each other's existence, but we don't know the exact relationship between them. In the first part of the video, when player first comes back from refilling the buckets, you can notice that pig 3 and 4 try to be friendly. They go out of their way to talk to him, try to make conversation, while pig 1 and 2 stare at him blankly and say nothing. Noticeably, there's times when the name pig ? Is shown, and they make horrible statements and only say anything when there's a chance to insult player or only when they really need to respond. I think the question mark could be attributed to pig 1 and 2 since they're barely mentioned. They're in the first 5 seconds and later on the grave. It's like player doesn't see much difference between them and it's hard for him to tell them apart, so he gives them a question mark. They also don't engage in any conversation with him. They don't speak to him directly, only pig 3, 4, and 5 do. There was also the 6th pig, but they never come up as a name. They're in the background, watching. Player's attitude towards the pigs, on the other hand, was changing left and right. At first, he was defensive and wasn't sure what they were doing there, then he tried helping them, and then once most of them died, his mood changed instantly to not caring and almost loathing them, only for it to change back minutes later when he started to miss them when they were truly gone. What I'm thinking is maybe the pigs were checking up on player because they know he's struggling. The sheep certainly knew, so why wouldn't they? A pig was present during the first video with the white sheep, so maybe it was one of the 6? They'd be worried. I mean, he has those problems where he freezes and refuses to move, the sleeping problems. There was this one short video where they forgot the size of their moat by a large margin, so maybe their memory isn't the best either. Now, mood switches? Player is obviously sick in some way, and after all, when he asked, "What are you doing here?" the pigs did say they were just hanging around, thinking he might be feeling lonely. This could have been a checkup that went horribly wrong. In the whole ordeal, pig 5 is really interesting because they, or should I say him, he comes back despite the entire group drowning and he ends up dead as well. Why would he come back for such a short time and then drown like the rest of his group? Why would he come back at all knowing 4 other pigs died just by being close to that moat? It doesn't make sense. We need more details to figure out exactly what happened here, but I feel like we have at least the foundation for what this was. Minecraft is terrifying, or I'm losing my sanity. This video is vastly different from what we've been experiencing thus far. It's the first video where we get a voice instead of text. Well, you've been getting voices the whole time, but I put them there. None of the characters actually speak, which is the usual standard for series like this. But again, here we get an actual person talking.
Something happened that made me save and quit my game in panic, in absolute terror, and I'm still getting over it.
Shroompie, and I think it is them, talks about a creepy encounter they had. They found a pink sheep. On its own, that isn't exactly scary, but they didn't know it was even possible for it to spawn in such an old version of the game. Plus, as they came up to it, a cave noise played and made the situation a whole lot worse.
I get hit by a spooky cave sound noise. The second I approach this sheep, and I panic, I save and quit. This game is killing me. This game will give me nightmares. This is terrifying, right? I know.
They keep talking about Minecraft spooking them way too often, and out of nowhere, there's this weird silent jump scare of a sheep's face with creepy eyes that Shroompie has no reaction to. I'm gonna show it now, so skip like 8 seconds if you don't want to see it.
And I don't know, I don't know what to do. This world is cursed.
Right afterwards, Shroompie looks over at the pink sheep and another cave noise plays, causing them to freak out.
I should keep an eye on. No, not again.
I'm not gonna show it, but the face jump scare happens again, and then for the rest of the video, Shroompie talks about the world being oddly scary for a game like Minecraft.
This looks like a cross. Right here, almost like a cross. Upside down. How scary is that? Minecraft is one of the scariest games that have ever been created. And I'll make a one day I'll make a video on how scary Minecraft actually is, because this is too much for a simple sandbox crafting building game. This is not supposed to be a horror, and I experience horrors regularly.
The video is a big departure from the atmosphere of this series. It's like a showcase of a silly instance of old Minecraft being odd, and it's a little bit of a fourth wall break. Like, not exactly, but up until now we didn't have a person attached to the story that treated Minecraft like just a game. Player feels like he lives in the game, while here it's a random person playing and talking about an unsettling encounter. It's so unexpected and innocent, well, until the ending, which makes it spin right back into place. When Shroompie stops talking, the POV switches to an all too familiar looking screen.
Hopefully forget that traumatic experiences.
A 4x3 VHS tape. Shroompie said they encountered the sheep while walking around the world randomly, but the recording of it is clearly player's POV. That means this entire time, we might have been watching a completely different character pretending to be someone else. We even see a sheep say something to Shroompie in this video, the same way they talk with player. The next video further proves this is the case. Don't Walk in the Dark is a video without either auditory or visual static. It shows Shroompie walk atop a mountain with C418's key in the background. After the final few notes, Shroompie speaks up and says whenever the track key plays, they get silent. Sounds awfully familiar. Before they can finish their sentence, they fall off a cliff and die from the impact.
It's like when key starts playing, I just get silent and listen. Oh. Yeah, that's why I should not be walking at night. Oh.
When people get bored, they oftentimes end up in places they are not supposed to be. They blame it on fate, as if they didn't have a choice to turn around and walk away. It's hard for them to admit that they found what they were looking for. And they chose to stay and see what happens next. This boredom-fueled curiosity alongside willful ignorance becomes their demise. I am here only to witness it. It amuses me. After all, I have nothing else to do. The ghost stories they create become reality when it's too late. A Peaceful Night is a monologue coming from an unknown narrator who talks about someone choosing to ignore whatever is happening to them while fully acknowledging they're going down a wrong path. The narrator seems to look down upon this behavior, but they're indifferent to people who choose to practice it. They observe, but do not interfere. As they speak, we stare at a pumpkin figure in a strange house, a location we've never seen before. There's a lava pool, and the house itself is a simple wooden box surrounded by flowers. After the speech, we're shown a stare down between the pumpkin heads in the house and what assumingly is the narrator, a cross with 3 jack-o'-lantern heads. Suddenly, we cut to someone walking in a forest. They have no items and no direction in mind. They wander, gazing at the night sky, turning their eyes to see all the stars, but they land directly onto the house and the 3-headed figure. The video freezes for a second and then ends. This video doesn't specify who it targets, and we don't have enough pieces of the puzzle to find its meaning. We will just have to keep going, as at this point the videos jump between completely different atmospheres every single upload, with the timeline becoming more and more unclear. When it rains. A sheep and player talk about rain. It's a very simple conversation. Rain makes player happy. The sheep asks him why, and he's never really thought about it, but it does. It takes his mind off of things and makes life peaceful, even if for but a moment. At the end, the video freezes once again, and we switch to nothing unusual.
There are things in this world that seem to be made with purpose. But I keep telling myself, there's nothing unusual. It's just a coincidence, a fun terrain generation. That's how this world is. It looks like it was made with purpose, but there's no purpose in this world. Only chance. That's what I keep telling myself. But I get startled by a chicken. I must be paranoid. There's nothing unusual. Maybe I drank too much mushroom tea.
Player has noticed that sometimes his world feels odd. It's the little things, the quirks of all terrain generation. The world appears to be so precise in its creation, with so many man-made looking structures, but all of it is just chance. Everything vaguely human-like is a pure accident. He tells himself there's nothing unusual, but he keeps encountering those oddities that prove him otherwise. The idea of someone else walking through player's world and leaving little marks in the terrain constantly lingers in his mind. In the middle of the video, the camera freezes and we switch places. Player is now in a forest with no inventory, talking to a sheep. He tells him about his fears, and the sheep, instead of comforting the player, scares him, making him question the idea more and think of all the horrifying possibilities. Then the sheep starts speaking gibberish.
I understand. Player, if you believe there's no purple, then do it is.
What? If you believe there is no purple, then do it is?
The void awaits you.
the video derails after meeting the sheep. It starts displaying seemingly random scenes. Player goes into a cave and gets a message, a sentence written backwards. He teleports and ends up in another part of the forest where he sees a cross in the ground. The screen flickers with a visual of the cross at night filled with roses, with a bed on top of it, to then showing the very stressed out player staring at the cross in daylight. These, in quotes, scenes are very chaotic and don't make much sense strung together, so I believe this could be another dream. Additionally, the video shows things that could link it to other videos that we also suspected to be dreams. In Are You Sure You Want to Know, player has the sudden and very paranoid reaction to a cave. It could stem from what happened here. The way he goes into the cave feels like something you'd see in a dream. It's like player is being dragged into it against his will. He already didn't feel welcome in it while talking to the sheep, so walking in there again, clearly anxious, does not make sense. It's like one of those times in dreams where you know something is a bad idea, but you can't control your actions and things just happen. During his time in the cave, someone spoke to him, an unknown encrypted voice, just like the one we saw at the end of Insomnia, a video that made us aware of players' sleeping problems. And lastly, the cut in the middle of the video could be a time skip or a shift into a dream, which we saw in A Creeper Spoke to Me. These 4 videos all share this weird, perplexing nature that starts to reveal itself about halfway through. They start out normal, and they have a specific moment that triggers the weirdness to start seeping through. Then the ending leaves us on an unsettling note with a mystery to solve or a question to answer. They all play out in a manner a dream would, and that leads me to the conclusion that this collection of 4 videos are players' dreams and nightmares, which begs the question, which videos were real and which weren't? Even the player can't tell if they are dreaming or not, so navigating that is gonna be that much more difficult, especially since here the dream seems to start only after a cut. We don't know if the first part was happening while they were awake, or if it was just the first phase of the dream. Another issue is the identity of player, which is leaning more into the direction that him and Shroompie are the same person. They share too many specific similarities to be different, and this video includes another piece of proof for that theory. If you remember, in Minecraft is Terrifying or I'm Losing My Sanity, Shroompie talked about Minecraft being simply too scary, in a way that isn't natural. If we go back and listen to their exact words, they said they were going to make a video one day that talks about why the game is so unsettling, and while talking about that, they mentioned a naturally generated cross shape. The similarities are too perfect for them to be coincidences. We are not looking at 2 different people. Player has to be some sort of alter ego that Shroompie made up, an alter ego that goes through so many terrible things. But why? Could this be a way to cope with their problems? Or maybe this is another issue related to their mood swings and personality changes? But then, why would they create a persona for issues that are only directly developing in their Minecraft world? One thing is for sure, whoever we're looking at, their health is declining, and it's about to get worse. Player is in his house, thinking about how calm his base has been for a while now, expressing that, though it has been peaceful, he's worried he might have forgotten about something. He looks into a chest and gets confused. There's a few pork chops inside, and he apparently doesn't eat those. He doesn't even remember killing a pig in the first place. He looks up from the chest to see the night has turned foggy. He feels slightly unnerved, because fog has always made him feel watched, like someone is outside, waiting for him. Just thinking about the idea made him too anxious not to check, so he walks out the door, the music cuts, and he sees...
A pig? What was that? This pig. It looks familiar. The water smells weird. It smells like flesh? And what is this monument? Did I build it?
Player,
Who are you?
you know who I am.
No. Why are you doing this?
You could have ended our suffering.
I tried to. I can do it now. I can fix this.
Pig 5 drowns, this time right in front of player's eyes. Now he stands, frozen, memories with Pig 5 flashing briefly, with encoded messages using Rot 5, or the more known name, the Caesar cipher. You can't change the past. But you can change your memories of it. You can distort and reshape them however you want. And convince yourself that's how it truly was. As when everyone does, willingly or not. It's inevitable. But it may happen that amidst all the fog, you may find what you tried to forget. This was another nightmare, a reminder of the traumatic events from A Little Lonely. It confirms something we suspected in previous uploads. Player definitely has memory problems. He forgot the entire situation with the pigs altogether, the pork chops, the grave, and Pig 5's identity. His memories flash after being reminded of them, but they are too quick to get specifics. He's experiencing anxiety of doubt over not knowing if he's forgetting something important or not. We are learning a lot about Player and Shroompie, and we are getting very close to what I believe is the end of the first part of this series. There's 3 more videos we have to watch, after which I will break down what we have so far and tell you my theory as to what I think is going on. Solitude is a lot more positive. It's Player talking about their love for the solitude of the game, a drastic change to what just happened. By the way they speak, they seem to be a lot more accepting of their world, and it's also the first time we are in a different version of the game, something a lot more modern. It looks and sounds like they are trying to move on. We're instantly back to Shroompie's beta world, and it's not very pleasant. The video is an interaction between Player and a chicken. They start talking, and the chicken at some point makes its way into Player's house looking for seeds.
You forgot to close the door again.
Oh well, nobody's gonna come in anyways.
Unless someone does come in.
So many visitors tonight. So lively. It's quite rare.
I wonder where you keep the seeds.
Player unexpectedly traps the chicken in his house, and the conversation gets pretty uncomfortable. Player says locking the door was just a way to mess with the chicken, and that they did it because they got too excited over someone being in their house. Quickly after, Player offers the chicken seeds in exchange for staying with him, and the chicken obviously declines the offer, pointing out the intense smell of mushrooms in the house. Player keeps pressing and tries to lead them downstairs anyway. He seems very possessive and very dire for any connection with anybody at this point. It comes up as creepy, and only after a painful minute of constantly getting rejected, he finally let the chicken go. The loneliness is getting to him. Maybe one day. Another shift between versions, this time a version that's pretty much up to date with the release of the video. Player is staring at 2 mushrooms as the sun sets. He talks about still trying to go back in time, reminiscing about a happy memory. They hope maybe one day the happiness they felt way back when is going to come back. Suddenly, the video cuts and they change their mind, saying they need to move on. They start walking away and the video ends, closing the first part of this channel. So, we have watched and analyzed 23 videos in total, a part of a story of two people, Player and Shroompie, which, as we have already figured out, are one and the same. Shroompie is using Player as a persona, but we don't know why. We don't know a lot. The amount of questions we have to answer is plainly stupid, but I think I got it. I set up a timeline with all of the episodes we watched and what I believe is the correct order. I scanned them for information for longer than I care to admit, and my theory is this. The character Shroompie is someone that's very mentally ill, someone who suffers from many disorders. They have trouble with sleeping, hallucinating, stress, anxiety, possible depression, mood swings, and personality changes. They are also stuck in the past. They keep reminiscing about their former happiness, and it blinds and stuns them. They are constantly bothered by it, and it barely ever lets them go. I think Shroompie has had a very difficult life, and they chose Minecraft as a way to cope, creating a character for themselves, the character named Player. Unfortunately, the character might be something that didn't exactly come voluntarily, as I believe Shroompie also suffers from some sort of depersonalization disorder and dissociative disorder, illnesses that can cause pretty much everything they are struggling with. I think Player is their other personality they switch to. This character is them treating their world as their life, interacting with animals and having entire conversations and scenarios while completely dissociated. I'm about to walk you through the untangled version of 23 videos where I explain my reasoning as to why I think that's the case. The first video on the line is You Are a Stranger to This World. This is the start of Shroompie's beta world. We know it's the same world because of the mountain shown at the end. It appears in the fourth video alongside the two other houses we've seen throughout the series. This could be Shroompie's first attempt at trying to find comfort in beta Minecraft. This might have happened after something really negative occurred in their life, something bad enough to seek comfort in a game they most likely used to play when they were younger, like pretty much anyone watching this. The description further hints at this. The world sees you as a stranger while you try to carve out a safe space to call home. Shroompie may have created this world during a depressive episode where they didn't feel like themselves. They didn't feel like they belong anywhere, triggering their first dissociation, where they didn't speak or interact with any animals yet. They didn't go by Player either. They didn't fear dark caves or anything for that matter. The VHS filter is low the entire time. It feels almost casual, like they were zoned out instead, but it could also represent a numb state of mind. They might have literally felt nothing at all, just numbness. They walk around lost, looking for a place to settle, something that feels friendly enough to approach and call home, but they don't find it. Just like the title and description said, the world doesn't view them as anything but a stranger. It's an empty and cold world with no comfort in sight. The only thing they could cling on to is the song Key. It's played and mentioned on the channel frequently, and I think that's because it played during such a vital time, a time where nothing else felt like it cared. Key was like a helping hand, guiding them through the desolate world. Next up is Minecraft is Terrifying, or I'm Losing My Sanity. The videos are separated by 12 other uploads, but they actually happen one right after the other. At 1 minute 40 seconds, Shroompie points out a vague cross shape in a mountain, the same cross shape they passed at the end of the last video. Furthermore, later down the line, Shroompie shows their inventory for a second, and if we paid close attention, we can tell it is nearly identical to the previous one. I think what happened is, since they didn't get any other items besides a sapling and seeds, Shroompie stayed under that mountain for the entire night, and moments after sunrise they encountered the sheep, which was a bit of a shock, causing them to break out of the dissociation. The confusion from finding a mob they believed not to exist yet, and the accompanying cave noise brought them back to reality. However, at the same time, the trend of animals speaking to them started. As innocent as this one-off message seems, it soon turns into entire conversations with mobs. We also can't forget about both the, in quotes, ending footage and the creepy sheep jump scares. The VHS footage shows us that during the encounter, they were in fact still in the headspace of being player. You probably put the pieces together by now, but the VHS tapes, I'll call them, are times whenever Shroompie isn't in full control. It appears mostly when player takes over, but it also appears in videos where the name isn't specified. As for the jump scares, they may simply be what Shroompie's imagining due to them being scared. I was watching this video with my boyfriend recently, and he pointed that out. They appeared on both of the times Shroompie were talking about Minecraft scaring them, and he told me he usually imagines weird, creepy faces or something related to what scares him in the moment. Video 3 is nothing unusual. This is the video I thought might have been the promised showcase of why Shroompie finds Minecraft scary. It fit perfectly, but now with the added details, I think this is a recording that happened after a brief time skip following Minecraft is terrifying. Shroompie expressed their fear of beta Minecraft, and seeing that pink sheep might have made them go down the rabbit hole a little bit. I imagine they continued to wander around the world looking for those little oddities, growing interest in just how creepy the game can be. Though, during that time, they again switched into player. This video is still early on as they aren't that attached to the game. They acknowledge it is a fake generator world, and also, they don't have many items yet. The ones they do have are all surface level things you can easily get in the first few days. And for now, they will be our indicator for the timeline. Video 4. Are you okay? With the knowledge that Shroompie usually goes silent when C418 plays, it's not that big of a stretch to say that in the beginning, the nostalgia or that feeling of comfort would make them freeze up. Though, for some reason, with that came the talking sheep, in reality being a figment of Shroopie's imagination, explaining the line, "Look, he's crying." There is the other line, "At least he's too busy to kill me." It looks like that's the sheep's thoughts, but why would Shroompie think that a sheep would think that about them? Is it a little hint towards why they were so uncaring when hurting the second last pig? Could they have some sort of violent tendencies? That I don't know. And I don't know what the whirring sound could mean either. However, the main point of this video is just the fact sheep is talking to player. I believe it stems from loneliness. That this habit of mobs talking to Shroompie started as a way to deal with the lack of contact and support from other people. They couldn't possibly make themselves feel better or make them less lonely, so they imagined someone else did it for them. Following the inventory again, insomnia is next. The sleeping problems are right in our faces, but this video actually focuses a lot more on memory loss. The description tells us player is hearing a song in his head that he does not know. However, the wording, "a melody he was sure he never heard before," only implies he thinks he doesn't know it. If we look a little lower in the description, the song, which is Chirp, is listed as a source, so Shroompie clearly knows it. It's apparent Shroompie knew the song, but they completely forgot it in the moment, causing confusion and stress. What's more, the song cuts out when they lay on the bed for one last time, which is when they receive the taunting message, "Have you forgotten?" First time around, I didn't think much of it, but now this could refer to so many things, with the most uncomfortable one being their own mind cutting out the song midway and them mocking their own memory loss, while dreaming about the insane amount of anxiety they go through when they try to go to sleep, not even knowing whether they are awake or not. A creeper spoke to me. After the literal nightmare they've experienced, they appear in their hut, staring at a creeper who at one point begs them for help. Unfortunately, it's useless, as the creeper is just Shroompie crying out for help to nobody but themselves. When the creeper falls into the cave and the VHS tape rewind sound plays, we see the creeper in the exact same position as they were when the video has started. The dream looped. It's a desperate attempt at wanting to finally snap out of this state, but for now, it continues. Are you sure you want to know? This is the culmination of the past 4 videos. The inventory lines up with the end of insomnia, player fears caves, the lack of sleep is more apparent, and Shroompie is now full on talking to a sheep. The conversation between player and sheep confirms 100% that every piece of dialogue is made up by Shroompie. They're all one person. The sheep blatantly admits they're not wise, they're just a sheep, a mob in a game programmed to walk and do nothing. Not long after that, as the conversation goes on, it turns into a continuous strain of thought. The sheep responds to the narrator-like character, which then prompts player to respond to sheep, responding to the narrator, and it honestly becomes a mess. These 3 characters leave barely any space in between their words. They just flow together because they know what the other is about to say. However, player is oblivious to sheep's ability to respond to the narrator until his very last words. Wait, how do you know what I'm thinking? Telling us the narrator is just his inner dialogue commentating on what's happening. The video ends with the sheep telling player to wake up, leading us into when you come back to your Minecraft world after a break. A 19-second clip that without context seems almost silly to post. However, with context, it becomes crucial. As you can notice, there is no VHS filter and the name player does not show up. We're back to Shroompie, an exhausted and confused version of them, as they have just woken up from a cycle of nightmares. Insomnia, a creeper spoke to me, and Are You Sure You Want to Know was a part of the collection of 4 dreams we talked about previously, and they happened back to back to back, with the 4th dream, Nothing Unusual, happening a bit before the rest, being almost like a teaser of what was about to come. The dreams didn't set off instantly after it though. Shroompie had a break for a while after Nothing Unusual. The time in between was definitely spent constructing the base we see before us, since we already saw a glimpse of it in the background 4 videos ago in Are You OK? Back to the current video, Shroompie has been drained of energy, and sadly, they get hit with another reminder of their memory issues. They express it with the words, confused and embarrassed. And if you've ever dealt with someone with memory loss, you'll probably agree these 2 words are the most accurate representation of those moments. It's only 2 simple words, but they hit really hard. Currently, our point of contact for establishing the timeline is gonna be the moat and how much of it is built. That makes when you suddenly notice the next video in line. It adds a little more terraforming and a bit more water, looking like this is the 1st or 2nd night right after the last video. If we try to analyze who is behind the wheel this time, the no-name specification suggests Shroompie, but the VHS filter leans into player. The pausing whenever C418 plays is a habit they both have, so that doesn't help, and interestingly, the narrator just says the player instead of telling you who it is. It seems it's sort of in the middle, like Shroompie feels so alienated that they can't even specify who they are. Not that they have control over that, they're I guess just in between. Though Shroompie appears to be really calm in this state. The static never spikes. In fact, it doesn't just not spike, it's not there at all. I previously said that this video is a lot more chill than the rest, part of that being the calmness of Shroompie, and while that is true, it's also very sad. The inner monologue throughout it implies working on their world and creating all of this is a way to keep themselves busy. They go into autopilot to drown everything out, and once in a blue moon, they get to feel okay for a little bit. Thankfully, the little moment of bliss was enough to keep them in the right state of mind for a while. As in Creepers Feel Lonely 2, the filter disappeared, and Shroompie kept working on the mode throughout the night in peace. They added more height and water. The video is uneventful and normal, because they finally got to feel normal. Not for long, however. Literally minutes later, we switched to the video A Little Lonely. The time difference only indicated by a couple of dirt blocks growing grass. My theory about this video was that this was a checkup. A group of people trying to help player who knew him and knew he was unwell. I still believe that's the case, and adding to that, I think that most likely the pigs were meant to represent a group of friends checking up on Shroompie, the same way the sheep checked up on Shroompie previously, but of course in both instances it's supposed to be for player. It was a group of his friends who tried to be there for him, but also a group who didn't necessarily want to do it, not all members at the very least. It's a really strange case because we know that this isn't happening and it's Shroompie's mind imagining these friends who are trying to help, but it still somehow ends up being negative. There's also a time skip in this video that contains 2 other uploads, but they don't give us much more of the story of player and this group. I'll still quickly tell you the order of the videos though. First up, it's of course the part in A Little Lonely where most of the pigs die in the unfinished mode. We see the a few days later text, and now we're in When It Rains. The mode is completely filled up with water, and player is expressing his love for rain and says that it takes his mind off of things, clearly relating to him and his friends disbanding. After that, we are in Night Stroll, where player is completely silent while walking around his base, sort of showcasing it, which gives us a view at the moat that's now circle-shaped, ready for the grave to be made. We cut back to A Little Lonely, and again the outcome is negative. One of the friends, Pig 5, comes back, and it feels like player won't be alone, but they die too, abandoning player and Shroompie. To me, this feels like Shroompie's thoughts are seeping through into these imaginary friends. It's not possible for them to actively think badly of player unless Shroompie themselves believes in their words. Shroompie may have the belief that they naturally just push people away, that they hurt the people around them. And it's so deep-rooted that even when isolated and in another version of themselves, it's still on their mind. The pigs all went one by one just by being in their vicinity. Nothing really happened for them to die. And one of the pigs said, "Wouldn't you kill me anyways if I wasn't trapped?" Which means Shroompie had to also think at one point they'd be cruel to the animals for no reason. Thinking back all the way to Are You Okay?, where the sheep also said something about player killing them. It doesn't have to stop on just thoughts of hurting and pushing others away. They could think negatively of themselves all around. The next video in line also deals with a mob that doesn't really want to talk with Shroompie and wants to get away from them as soon as possible. The conversation between player and the chicken takes place a long time after the whole incident. The grave is in the middle of the moat with all the names on it, and player's remarks and attitude point to the fact he's been alone for a while. He notices how many mobs there are in his area and says that it doesn't happen often anymore. The chicken tells him he didn't close the door, and he responds that there's not gonna be anybody coming anyway. Trapping the chicken inside his house is another thing. He longs for someone to talk to and is willing to trap a mob just so they can continue to talk, no matter how awkward and creepy it is. Shroompie is so alone and so convinced that they're gonna push everybody away by this point that their mind barely gives them a chance for a fake conversation to happen. And when one does happen, it ends up with the mob leaving anyway. Unfortunately, this loneliness will continue with solitude. This is a deceiving video. There is no mention of the name player, it has a positive undertone, and it sounds like Shroompie isn't uncomfortable with loneliness anymore, like they're on their way to start getting better. However, Similar to when you suddenly notice, this is Shroompie again, somewhere in the middle between them and player. Not getting better. They're still dissociating and they're trying to convince themselves that they're okay with being alone, that they're getting used to the loneliness, but it's not really what they need or what they want. They are in a newer version of Minecraft too, and that almost seems like a deliberate choice to show themselves that they are moving on from the past, but they're still in the same game with the same problems. Maybe one day pushes us into an even newer version and we return to player again. Despite technically moving on further and a substantial amount of time passing, which he describes as been a while, he still finds ways to cling on to the past, specifically to some sort of relationship he had, presented as two mushrooms on a fallen tree. A relationship that we might actually know a little bit about. Player stumbling upon those two mushrooms has brought back unwanted memories of the ordeal with their friends. It triggered a nightmare where Pig 5 drowns in front of their eyes. He is the only one that shows up. The other pigs are merely names on a sign, even the ones that share the conversation with player. Pig 5 appears to be someone closer than the rest. He survived and endured seeing the entire group drown. He still came back to player, and he didn't as much as hesitate when player asked him if he's sure he wanted to be around him after what happened. When he drowned for the second time, pictures of what I imagine to be memories with Pig 5 were flashing in player's head, both of them in his house and around his base. The attempt at trying to move on, which wasn't much, was undone by this nightmare, and it brought them back to square one. Here we are going to stop for a second, because at this point, I've been thinking about these videos as I was writing the script more and more and more and more. And there was just something off. I felt like I wasn't getting the full picture, like something wasn't right. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I've noticed a hint or a code in the background or whatever and it threw me off. No, some of the videos have a certain feeling to them. It's hard to explain, but they fit in the series. They make sense in the story, but they feel out of place. They feel different. A little lonely, especially because I had a theory about what the story of the video was that I already presented to you. The pigs at some point were players' friends and he hurt them somehow and boom. The theory was sound, but it was flimsy. Like, there was a few holes in that explanation, ones that I couldn't just skim past and ignore. So the whole deal is player talks to mobs and apparently he can develop relationships of his own since he was already friends with the group of pigs. But when did that friendship develop? When did the conflict start? And what was it? There was no time for it anywhere, and there was no mention of these pigs prior to A Little Lonely, except a small cameo in Are You Okay, where a pig said nothing. They appeared so out of nowhere, but had such an immense impact on player, and had this backstory to them, which was then expanded in Pork Chop, combined with the time skip videos too. There was a piece of the puzzle missing. Despite painting a timeline that fits decently, and despite things falling into place one after the other, I didn't feel satisfied. I had the lingering thought that I had to dig in deeper. Like, the atmosphere of these videos felt too different to others. These ones felt almost real. Like, I'm not watching an episode of a horror series or something to that effect, but I couldn't put my finger on why that is. I watched all of the 32 videos, I had the idea of what the entire series was, and then it clicked. I remembered there are more videos on the channel. Videos I didn't mention because I never thought I would have to. See, Shroompie's channel doesn't consist of 32 videos, it consists of 60. Plus a few shorts. The channel is active and sometimes they upload videos that are entirely different to the series. There's a silly Minecraft movie review, there's a speed paint of their profile picture, a video where commenters name an axolotl figure. It's uploads I didn't take into account because this felt like one of those channels where the creator either doesn't feel like separating their videos or they put out random things that are meant to be red herrings, stuff that makes figuring out the series just a little bit more difficult. However, since I was at a standstill, I decided to look through them, and I really don't know what to feel now. We are heading into a part of this video that I'm not excited about, a chapter that is going to change the trajectory of this whole thing. These are the Let's Plays. Looking at the thumbnails of these videos, I've never suspected anything. They're silly. They're full of little kitty cats. One has a Doomer Wojak on it, and another has a rat with Fug Life MLG glasses. I feel like you get why I didn't consider these to be associated with the rest. A few of them are quite lengthy too. You usually don't see ARGs and web series fluctuate so hard with the length of their videos. 19 seconds and 1 hour 20 minutes is a bit of a difference. I didn't ignore them entirely though. I have watched a few, plus the first Let's Play / gameplay video and its little teaser that was uploaded right after A Little Lonely. It's 30 seconds long and is titled Playing Minecraft Till I Find a Village. It's self-explanatory. It's laggy footage of Shroompie finding a village immediately at spawn. The description tells us that it is a teaser for a video about the problem they have with modern villages. Lo and behold, the next video is called Why I Don't Like Minecraft Villages. And I won't say that it's what I expected. It's sort of close to what I imagined, I guess. Not really, but to show you why I instantly thought that this had nothing to do with the series that I've spent 40 pages worth of a script talking about, I'll play you a random 5-second clip from that video.
I'm being too careless.
And another one.
Anyways, we're born back into this world.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change of pace, you know? It shows us a completely different version of this channel. One with cat images and gifs, Barry B. Benson and Joe Biden somehow, and Jesus Christ, and it's like, what is this even doing here? The video is wholesome and goofy. It's supposed to be Shroompie talking about why they dislike modern villages, but almost the entire time they just get distracted by caves that they call cracks in the earth. This is the edit used, by the way. And also flowers. They have an obsession with picking up flowers, and they do not talk about the topic at hand until maybe 7 minutes and 20 seconds into the video. Literally, they say, "What was I saying?" and instantly continue to get distracted by things.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I am testing, making this video. Suspicious crack in the land. I
didn't think twice about it. I watched it, I was entertained, and moved on thinking, yeah, the B-movie is an important lore to this story. I don't think I can go on without watching these. And boy, was I wrong. This time around, when I watched it in full, glued to the screen, I picked up on an interesting wording choice. Shroompie goes up to caves, right? They do that a lot here, either going in before backing out, or just staring at them. And in 2 of those instances, when they kind of only look and then go away, they call the caves suspicious.
Not the dark, suspicious caves.
Doesn't feel like a word you'd use to describe a Minecraft cave, just for no reason at all. It doesn't end there though. Minutes later, I was listening in, and while Shroompie was looking at the sunset, they paused for a second and said, if C418 played right now, they'd probably start crying.
Man, was C418 playing right now? I'd start crying. I would start crying, but without C418, I'm just smiling. I'm just smiling. And not enough to make me cry. Not enough.
It's not the first time we hear Shroompie tell us about the habit of C418 making them emotional. They did say they always get silent whenever the song Key plays. It was in the video Don't Walk in the Dark. The big difference was that video felt like an episode of a series containing a clue, ending in a cryptic and weird room with long tunnels leading to darkness. And this was 13 minutes of a person talking and having fun in Minecraft. This didn't feel like something that was acted out. It felt different. It had the exact same feeling that prompted me to watch it. Now I knew I had to go deeper and watch more. Going down the line of all the videos it didn't include, I was on the lookout for more similarities between the assumingly real person behind the channel and the characters of Shroompie and Player. I had to see if the stuff in the first Let's Play was coincidental or if there was something more going on. I sat down and watched every single video, and in most of them, there was nothing to be found. These were videos of a person who seemed to be having a pretty good time in or outside of Minecraft. It would be a casual Let's Play where they answer comments, a video where they're trying to speak Portuguese. I mean, even if I wanted to, I couldn't connect them to Player and his story. However, every so often, about every 2 to 4 uploads, there will come a video that at some point shifts the tone a bit. The silliness that's usually present the whole time stops, and well, it's like you're watching TV and you switch the channel by accident, and then you stumble on the same actor, but just in a completely different movie. These tonal shifts come randomly, and they range from being ever so slight, only a moment that feels out of place, to pretty long segments that get progressively more uncomfortable to watch. In a video called Why Can't We Eat Eggs, their character is about to die of hunger because they forgot to gather food, and they mention that in real life they also struggle to eat. They forget to and only get reminded of it whenever they're close to fainting.
So yeah, in real life I'll just be going about my day doing stuff and things and just ignoring the fact that I'm hungry. But then the hungriness really hits hard, and I'm like about to faint or something. Okay, that's good.
It's said so nonchalantly, like it's nothing to worry about, and then they casually talk about the inability to eat eggs. In the video Relaxing MS Painting with Subwoofer Lullaby in the background, they're making a Christmas version of their profile picture. It's 25 minutes long, and 22 of those minutes are perfectly fine, but in the other 3 minutes, they say their room is always a total mess and they need to clean it for the holidays. Though they think it's useless since it won't last. It never manages to stay clean for more than a day or two.
I feel like since it is Christmas soon, I have to like do something, change something in my life, something as drastic as cleaning my room. Start life from new page with a clean room, which will become dirty like the next day or in 2 or 3 days. I never managed to keep things in order. I wish I would. I have a friend.
The topic of Christmas is of course mentioned as well, and they ask the comments if they feel the quote-unquote holiday spirit, because they feel absolutely nothing. They don't find Christmas enjoyable or exciting. It's more of a chore than anything else. Very shortly after, they call their drawing ugly and say that their younger self would hate themselves for how some of it turned out. This continues on in other uploads. These random sad remarks about themselves and their life that pop up in longer videos somewhere down the line for a second, and then they're ignored. Maybe one of these on their own isn't terrible, but it just keeps piling up, and it doesn't paint a great picture. The videos that include these simultaneously bring us more references to the fictional characters we've been following for a long while. Pretty much in every single gameplay video, there are moments where C418's music plays, and Shroompie always talks about it. The reactions to it vary, but it always in some way ends up bringing up the past, feeling nostalgic, and saying how big of an effect the music has on them. They choke up, stop speaking, sometimes stop and stare into the distance, and on one occasion, in a video called Coming Back to My World After Months of Not Playing and Admiring How Beautiful It Is, they slowly break down and quietly cry.
I would never be a teacher or become a teacher because I was like so introverted. I was super introverted and I didn't want to like deal with people in person, so I was telling myself, and I like had this kind of mindset like I hate it. Oh, no, of course Minecraft, you had to do this to me. Sure. Why is that Minecraft like it's such an existential pondering times? You just you know.
all this brings us to the second Let's Play on the channel, called Playing Minecraft 1.8 to Cure My Sad, plus a Q&A, a video that unearths a lot. It starts innocently enough. Shroompie creates a world in Minecraft 1.8 and they freak out over spawning near mushrooms, they get overwhelmed by the amount of cool looking mobs there are around them, we even get a silly gif or two. However, at 1 minute 17, a sheep talks to Shroompie. A one-off response, one very similar to the Pink Sheep video, and that's just the start. They continue on exploring their spawn and they find a lava pool. A moment after, they do a cut, saying they were rambling and didn't think it was interesting, so they skipped it. 2 minutes later, Shroompie is brought back to the pool by a wildfire that started around it. They do another cut, this time with an image. Going to the lava pool I have already been to, showing a picture of 3 pumpkins near lava that we saw previously in a peaceful night. This is something we'll come back to in a minute. You can notice their hunger bar is once again neglected. They did collect food, but it looks like it was accidental. They have meat from sheep that they probably killed only for wool, and an apple that just so happened to fall from a tree. Once the night falls, they start answering questions, and someone asks, "How much does your Minecraft world mean to you? How far would you go for it?" Shroompie responds that their Minecraft world means, well, the world to them. They say it is their world, the only world they enjoy to be in, the one more precious than the real one. They talk about enjoying their Minecraft world a lot more than their daily life, and out of nowhere, they say that when they die, they'd love to reincarnate in Minecraft if there was the possibility. They instantly add that what they just said was a bit of an exaggeration. Nonetheless, Minecraft to them is a good way to, quote, distract them from the disappointments of real life. After that sentence, they stop speaking for a moment, while motionlessly staring at the sunrise.
My Minecraft world means the world. It means the world to me. This is my world. It is the world. The only world that I enjoy to be in is the world that is more precious than the real world. It's the world that I want to get reborn in when I die. If there is an afterlife, I want the afterlife to be my Minecraft world, please. Okay, but that was an over exaggeration, of course, but my playing Minecraft is just a good way to distract yourself from the disappointments of real life. So there is that. And
Shroompie continues the topic, and as soon as they mention the possibility of ever losing their world, Mice and Venus starts playing, and they freeze. After about 20 seconds, they snap out of it, but the video cuts 2 more times during the song, most likely because they kept going silent. In between the cuts, there's another instance of a mob talking to them. A creeper with, again, a one-off message. For now, it's only been a creeper and a sheep, consistent to the mobs that talk to player. As the video goes on, Shroompie comments that if they were to teleport into the game, they wouldn't survive even a day. All they do is pick up flowers until nighttime and then die of hunger. The last question of the Q&A kind of circled around to the topic of how important their world is to them. How do you feel when you play your Minecraft world? Happy, sad, nostalgic, crying inside? Before answering, however, they stop moving and go quiet for a few seconds, looking at nothing. Suddenly, they go to the settings and crank the music volume up to 100 with a caption on screen saying, "Hallucinating that key started playing." Next, they speak up and say that they thought they heard the song playing, and even then they stutter, still hearing the melody in between their words. Shroompie goes on to say that all the music is actually only in Steve's mind, that it's all in his head, and they became him in that moment, hallucinating the track key.
answering Proboy's question, I feel God, for a second I thought the key was playing. I'm hallucinating the key playing in my head. This is exactly what happens to Steve. Steve does not, like, all this music that's playing in the game is playing in Steve's head, and now I.
Coming back to the question, Shroompie responds that they feel very happy. definitely happier than in their actual life. They say they're joking about that, of course, but it doesn't sound like it. They also say Minecraft has become a form of therapy to them. It apparently makes their mood better. Sometimes they feel nostalgic, sometimes the music makes them cry, but they insist that both the nostalgia and the crying is positive, which even they don't fully believe, as they put the text sometimes on screen while saying that. Throughout this video, Shroompie sounds incredibly sad while saying all of this, laughing nervously whenever the statements get a bit too real, and backing out saying it's all jokes, before saying something just as depressing as a way to de-escalate. It doesn't end on just this video. Same with the similarities to Player. There's a lot of them scattered around, and with all the info gathered while watching the series, they are clear as day. The pattern of tearing up just on the first few notes of a C418 song keeps going. The pattern of saying Minecraft is better than their life comes up again in a few forms. In one of the videos, they tell the audience that before recording, they felt depressed, but once they started talking and playing, it all got so much better. And like clockwork, C418 started playing right then and there. You could hear their voice get shakier as they talked, holding out the urge to cry. In another Q&A episode, they reveal that their channel started at a time in their life when they were really depressed and weren't excited about really anything.
What got me to create in the first place was probably I was feeling pretty kind of depressed, I guess. Wasn't like excited about anything that much. Wasn't excited about playing Minecraft. I wanted to do something with my life instead of just being sad and bored all the time.
The very concerning part about the Let's Plays is that these were definitely not made with a piece of fiction in mind. They're not a branch of the series, they aren't staged. If they are, good job on the acting, but they feel too authentic. We've observed many similarities between the real Shroompie and the character Player within them, and now I assume that they're not coincidences anymore. There are a few things missing though. A few things that Player does and things they're struggling with that haven't been talked about in the other videos, and since there isn't any videos left, I decided to search through the 2 other possible places to find out if Shroompie and Player have even more in common. The comments section and the community posts tab. Turns out, Shroompie interacts a hell of a lot with their audience. No matter how many comments a video or a post gets, it seems like they read it all and they respond to many of them. Hundreds, I'd say. Out of those hundreds of replies, 3 of them mention one of the main themes of the series: memory loss. In the comments section of a shorts version of the video, Sometimes Worlds Get Forgotten, 2 people reminisce about their past worlds. A user named OfficialMongCR talks about their first world from 2014, and they thank Shroompie for bringing back the memories from that time. Shroompie responds with, "Man, I'm happy this video made you remember. It's so funny. Thank you for subscribing. I wish I remember what my first world was like, but I remember how it felt." The second person said their first world was unfortunately lost, and Shroompie responded, "I wish you could have saved the world and be able to play it now. All my first worlds are lost to time too. Only memories remain, and they are unfortunately fading." The third and last reply is under the video Nothing Unusual. A viewer, Leo Stuff, commented, "Don't you remember? Honestly, with my memory problems, I probably don't." To make it even more clear, out of the dozens of community posts on the channel, there's one from a year ago that shows another comment from Shroompie. The focal point of the post is a badly spelled sentence, but it contains the most amount of information about Shroompie's memory issues. If the memory loss is complete, I'd also lose most of my personality, unfortunately. So I wouldn't enjoy the videos, especially since I wouldn't feel any attachment to Minecraft, as you've mentioned. Man, before my memory loss completely sets in, I'm turning 25 next week, I need to make a video talking about my earliest Minecraft memories. I have very few memories from my childhood, and the most vivid one is Minecraft related. No matter how much I looked, I couldn't find this specific comment, so the exact context is lost, but it is apparent that Shroompie suffers from an illness that at some point, very early in their life, will take away their memories. What I thought at first to be a cool Minecraft horror series is looking pretty devastating. It's not just that anymore. You know that feeling I talked about? The way some of the videos felt so out of place? Well, it's because they weren't solely episodes of a web series. They were recreations. The missing details all could be explained by these being events that took place in Shroompie's life. The issues they suffer from daily, the bad things they endured, are represented through fictional characters in a Minecraft world. Their room being always messy, shown for the chests, their sleeping problems shown everywhere but only subtly hinted on by adding eye bags to their profile picture, mood swings and Q&As, hallucinations, clinging on to the past. It's not a story entirely about player. It's also a story about Shroompie, the real person behind the channel. It's really complicated because not only is there a character Shroompie in the series as a sort of alternate reality version of the real person, but it's also based on the real person's experiences. Taking a look back at the video A Little Lonely now offers a completely different perspective. When the actual event was taking place, Shroompie had been dealing with an insane amount of baggage. They were beyond depressed and anxious as their memories were actively being taken away against their will. The pigs who spawned in their base represent a group of friends that got together to be there for Shroompie because they knew how much they were struggling. A group who was of course in over their heads. They've most likely never dealt with something this heavy before, so the only reasonable thing they could have done is make their friend's environment a little less lonely. However, the friends' inexperience and Shroompie's beliefs of pushing people away unfortunately turned effort and good intentions into what felt like an attack. The situation was completely misinterpreted by both parties. The pigs' words, things said that didn't seem quite right, that could have been advice that in time of distress sounded aggressive and forceful. The behavior from the pigs who seemed like they didn't want to be there wasn't anything negative either. Silence might not have been judgment, more so not knowing how to help and feeling too afraid to speak up. Shroompie accidentally ended up pushing everybody away, acting like they didn't want to be helped, resisting any kind of support, slowly drowning their friends in their own sorrows. When the first pig dies, it doesn't evoke any sort of reaction out of anybody, and that might be because they didn't really die. They left because they couldn't handle Shroompie's situation anymore, and the others understood that decision. Pig 5 comes back after the initial incident and wants to stay with Shroompie. It's someone that was closer, someone that cared more than the others. They go on to make a grave for the group, symbolizing burning the bridge between them and the rest. Pig 5 seems really stricken by the whole ordeal, almost like he had to choose between the group and Shroompie. He was confident about putting his friends to rest, but felt instant regret, upon which Shroompie said something insanely insensitive and hostile. Barely a moment after signing the grave, they told Pig 5 that they know it's hard, but he has to move on. Like he didn't come back moments earlier, giving up an entire group to try and help them through their situation. Despite the instant apology, some things cannot be taken back. Shroompie tells him to grieve as long as he needs to, and Pig 5 responds like someone who's just been heavily hurt and wanted to avoid further confrontation. Shroompie leaves him briefly after, and he realizes he can't handle this either. I believe that the real counterpart of this event might have actually been the cause of this series' existence, a series that would reflect what they were feeling portrayed in an exaggerated lens. After losing this group, they opened up an older version of Minecraft, a game that's their most vivid childhood memory, a last resort to find a safe place to call home. The real person has found some peace in it, but in the series, it turned into a slow descent into a worse and worse depression. This leads us to A Peaceful Night. This monologue talks about someone choosing to ignore a terrible situation and continuing to live in it, despite knowing full well that it's going to hurt them in the end. This is about Shroompie. They're self-aware, making this series reliving the trauma, making a reality where a person slowly falls apart based on what they went and are going through. They know it's not helping. The narrator talks about boredom and it being the leading cause of ending up in situations that a person shouldn't be in. The exact reason why Shroompie started this channel. They were sad and bored all the time, and they chose this. They chose to make a series that would remind them of their struggles constantly. However, this isn't only about them. It's about the people watching. you, me, everybody else who viewed this for entertainment. We're choosing to stay here and see what's going to happen next, to theorize what this could be, maybe try to solve it, but mostly we are here solely to witness it. For fun. I think this is a critique of the viewers and specifically the comments section. Surprisingly, every upload has comment about how chill and relaxing these videos are. No matter what happens in any of them, the viewers just seem to turn a blind eye. I've barely seen any comments that were concerned about some of the stuff shown and said. Porkchop, a video where Pig5, a person close to Shroompie, drowns in front of them, a nightmare that was probably real and happened at some point, has a comment saying just how funny giggles it all was. In the video where Shroompie mentions they forget to eat and only do so when they're about to pass out, nobody focused on that. Every comment was about the inability to eat eggs. These are just 2 examples out of many. A Peaceful Night criticizes them. It criticizes everyone involved, and it includes them. The pumpkin figures aren't random. The single jack-o'-lantern in the house is player, the being that is watched by us over and over. Even here during the whole speech, we're watching him, only this time he's staring back at us. As for the 3 heads, this is the audience and Shroompie. 2 heads for us, 1 for them. This statue is the people who are watching this unravel. The people who were here from the very beginning. At the end, we see player walk through a forest and stumble upon the house. The video cuts, but that isn't the end of A Peaceful Night. While I was writing the script, it actually got a continuation, a sequel titled No Way Out.
What a strange house that I did not build. A slender pumpkin? I think I shouldn't bother it. Yeah, it looks peaceful. The animals are drawn to the lava pool. I should check the house. The house looks cozy and welcoming. It's staring right through the window. Lots of meat. Alright, time to make a bed. What? Seems like no sleep for me. Maybe I should just leave and try to find my home. The slender pumpkin slightly unnerves me. But first, this looks like a basement. Well, that's interesting. I hope I didn't do something I shouldn't have done. This is the time to save and quit and delete this world. But I wonder what it does. Seems like it's just hungry. I have to feed it. What do you want, pig?
It's your turn.
What are you trying to? Just a little bit more. Should be enough this time. It's the last meat I have. Pigs are nowhere to be seen.
Player, now with a set of items, is investigating the house and the lava pool. The free jack-o'-lantern head is down to just one unlit pumpkin, and player calls it a slender pumpkin, sounding like they've dealt with it previously. Before walking to the house, player comments that the animals seem to be drawn to the lava pool, seeing as one cow already jumped in and another one is walking close to its edge. Upon entering the hut, player looks into a chest and finds pork chops stacked in a weird formation. This is actually Morse code that translates to run. Player doesn't understand it and goes to try to craft a bed, but it doesn't work. Most likely a sign that this is a dream. While he decides what to do next, the pumpkin keeps staring at him through the window, making him uneasy. Thankfully though, the night is almost over and he doesn't have to stay here. However, despite wanting to leave and having the chance to do so, player stays because of a cobblestone patch in the floor. He breaks it and finds a basement. Inside, a jack-o'-lantern figure in a room with chests. The chests contain 2 pumpkins and a cross made out of meat, forming the shape of the free head. To fully construct it, player breaks the lit pumpkin and puts it in the right space. When he walks back up, the free head is now standing in front of the pool, claiming another 2 cows, a chicken, a pig, and nearly getting the player, who is apparently feeding it. Close to the end, they run out of items to put in the fire, and player dies. I feel like this video is about the behavior that Shroompie criticized in A Peaceful Night, and here's why. In the beginning, the singular unlit pumpkin is a stripped down version of the free head. To me, it's Shroompie, who at that moment wasn't in control. They lack the audience because we are walking and seeing the events through player's eyes. We're with him the same way we were in previous videos. The pumpkin in the basement is a jack-o'-lantern, showing us who is actively in control. It's both Shroompie and player. It's technically just player, but as shown, breaking the head doesn't affect him because he doesn't really exist. The duo is just one person after all. To me, this is a visual representation of Shroompie choosing to set all this up. The house, the pool, the basement, and the necessary items to recreate the three-headed pumpkin. No one is forcing them to do this. It's their creation, made on their own volition. When they, in quotes, activate the three-headed pumpkin, it symbolizes them choosing to create it once again, to continue making more videos instead of moving on, combining themselves with the character of player and adding the audience to make it whole. Once the figure is done, animals start jumping into the lava in front of it. This could represent Shroompie sacrificing parts of themselves to continue on making the series, slowly chipping away at their well-being until they have nothing left and they meet their demise. The ghost stories they create become reality when it's too late. Player dies here for the first and ever time on screen. It feels like a decision was made here, like this is the point of no return, like there's no way out. His death signifies the last video in the beta phase of the channel. We only have 7 videos remaining in the last branch of this channel, the alpha phase, which I will present in what I think is the correct order right away. After the video No Way Out, the series does a version switch from beta Minecraft to Minecraft Alpha. The switch happens during one of the gameplay videos, and it's titled Playing Minecraft to Relax After Quitting My Job. The video starts out with Shroompie talking about quitting their job as a teacher, but they very quickly decide they don't actually want to go into detail about why they quit, and they switch the subject. Shroompie is indulging in one of their favorite pastimes, exploring and wandering through alpha worlds. They find them majestic. They see the beauty in how abstract and nonsensical the worlds can be. Barely a minute into exploring, the most disturbing moment of the entire channel happens. A bomb goes off near Shroompie's home.
This is beautiful. This is magnificent. Majestic. Oh, fuck. Ay, puro bola. Shh. Okay. I just got reminded that I also live in the wartime. There's war sounds outside of my window. But it doesn't matter because I found a very cool terrain. It looks very cool. God, this like...
They freeze. Their dog Bonita starts barking. They curse, try to calm their dog down that goes from barking to yelping, and every second of silence afterwards feels like 1,000 cuts. A gameplay video turns into technical war footage. Shroompie quickly goes to distract themselves from what happened by planting a base in the terrain in front of them. The dog yelps once more, a second before another strike.
Yeah, just when the okay.
This time, Shroompie and Bonita had to hide in the bathroom because the bombs were too loud to handle. They come back after a while saying, "I'm alive. I survived. For now." The dirt-breaking sound has now become too loud to listen to. Too similar. Shroompie tries to lighten the mood by talking about playing Skyrim when the first bombs dropped in Ukraine years ago, but of course, it's tragic. You can hear their nervous laughter and Bonita pacing in the background. It's heartbreaking.
Oh my god, this is triggering the sound. I need it quieter. This is too loud. This is too loud. When the war just started, I was playing Skyrim to calm myself down. Like, there's literal explosions. There was literal explosions outside my window, and I was playing Skyrim. Like zero survival.
The video continues. Shroompie says,
"Okay, now I'm playing Minecraft because if I have to leave this world, it'll happen. Oh, it'll happen. Like the last thing I see will be this beautifulness. So I won't even be upset about it. Like this would be a good way to go, you know." Last thing you see is this. Like, how cool is that? This is amazing.
They say it with hesitance, most likely realizing how bleak that statement sounds. Again, it's just another try to distract themselves from what happened. At the end, Shroompie shares a story about people in their area getting used to war. During air raids, their students don't hide anymore. It's been so long that students treat the raids as a normal occurrence. They don't stop, they don't run and hide, they just go to school as if it was a regular day of the week. After finishing the story, Shroompie goes quiet for a bit before ending the video after a pig threw them off a mountain. This is a terrifying video. It puts this entire channel into a new perspective. Their struggles and challenges of their daily life are elevated to a completely different level. Previous videos were disturbing, yeah, they included heavy topics, but this is different. To hear explosions in the background, sounds of war, even while muffled, is nothing short of fucking nerve-wracking. It's a video that I never expected, and the way it plays out, there's really no words to describe it. The next upload directly after this is called A Little Lost. The video begins with random scenery and C418's music playing in the background. It evolves into very trippy visuals that last about a minute and a half until a sheep speaks out to player.
Player, you're creeping me out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do something?
You're creeping me out too, man.
You're just standing and staring at random things.
I feel a little lost.
I've noticed. Why not create a purpose then? You haven't even built a wooden box starter house.
Right, I know.
You could be doing so many things, yet you're doing nothing.
I see no point in that.
Why so?
I know I will abandon this world, and nothing I did here will matter.
Sooner or later, it happens to any world. You will have to leave everything behind one day. But you shouldn't worry about that now. Create your world and be happy in it while you can.
Anything I create will be forgotten and lost to time.
Then why are you here, player?
Chasing the echoes of the past, I guess. The times when I didn't question anything.
So you prefer to aimlessly wander through this world? I wish I could help you. But I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. Things inevitably change. And you can only have brief moments of former happiness. But isn't it still worth a try?
It turns out the trippy scenes of Alpha Terrain were player wandering and staring at random landscapes in this world. Player is a bit stuck, more specifically, a little lost. He doesn't know what to do in his current situation and confines in a sheep. He feels hopeless. He doesn't see the point in creating anything because in the end he eventually will have to abandon it. While the feelings of hopelessness seem to be new, the core of the problem is the same as it's always been. This conversation has happened many times before. The issue constantly revolves around chasing the past, and the solution never changes either. It's to realize that the past has already happened. It's never going to come back, and no matter how many times you come back to it, nobody else is going to show up there with you. It's a closed chapter that you'll never get over if it's still present in your day-to-day life, and you can't expect people around you to continuously repeat the same advice to the same problem. This video, I think, perfectly encapsulates a conversation with a person who has been stuck in the same position for more time they care to admit. A person so hopelessly depressed that they don't see the point in much, if anything at all, and a person who cares, who wants to help, but they simply cannot. A person who's been trying their hardest, but they are running out of hope. Advice gets repeated, sentences become the same, and the person stops seeing the point of convincing the other one to do something the same way the person hurting stops seeing the point in trying. It's a time where both people find themselves at a crossroads. The person who's helping needs to ask themselves if they are fit enough to continue, if they're fine with the idea that this could take months, years, or never change at all, while the person suffering has two options: stay and experience the pain of never moving on that inevitably destroys a person, or experience the pain of growth and give themselves a fighting chance at feeling the happiness they remember that they so desperately want to experience again. Player is tired. They're thinking about how everything they will ever make is going to be forgotten one day. We know it's not just existential dread, it's about their disease as well. They fear forgetting these worlds, these places. It all feels pointless, and they wish they could go back to a time when they weren't so aware of what's going to happen. The sheep tells them that they need to find a new purpose. They have to take action and make something out of their situation, otherwise they'll be stuck with nothing, looking for happiness in places that can't create such emotion without human input. If you're looking for meaning in these mountains, these trees, waterfalls, or even this conversation, you have to give it one. You yourself need to find purpose in these otherwise meaningless things. The sheep can't help player anymore. They ran out of ideas and they can't force them to do anything. The next video is called Bad Dreams, and I unfortunately believe that both Player and Shroompie chose the path of staying. The alpha part of this channel is where things make less and less sense, and there's barely any distinction between reality, dream, or dissociation for Player. Bad Dreams is a direct parallel to the first alpha video made by Shroompie. Player is in the exact same world and takes the same route they did, difference being that in the place Shroompie died, Player stops, looks in the distance, and finds himself staring at a giant bed. They start walking towards it and get nervous when they recognize their surroundings. This is the place they were just standing in, pondering the meaning of their life. Player doesn't stop being on edge once they notice it. They walk over to the bed, and after a long while, a day and a half, they manage to fall asleep. Throughout the series, Player's sleeping habits have been clearly showcased not to be the greatest. They've been on a gradual decline. Remarks about needing sleep when weird things started happening around them, clear signs of exhaustion, not being able to discern reality from dream, and here, in Bad Dreams, as the title outright says it, they're dreaming about the idea of going to sleep in a comfortable bed, and even then, they have trouble drifting off. This leads us to the next video, How to Craft a Bed in Alpha Minecraft. This video is a desperate attempt at making a bed of any kind to have any sort of rest. Player tries to craft it in multiple ways, but nothing is working and he's growing more impatient and nervous by the minute. He resorts to making an imitation of a bed, hoping that could be enough to trick their mind into going to sleep, but it's of no use. During this video, C418's Chirp plays, a song we've heard before in Insomnia, but this time it's slower and pitched down, a more tired version of this song. It's at this point where the sleeping problems finally go over the edge. This is where Player loses their ability to sleep entirely.
Sheep? What are you doing? Sheep?
I feel drawn to the edge of this cliff.
What? Sheep, you're scaring me.
Don't mind me, Player.
Come here, I'll give you something. Sheep? Just come here. Look at this yummy grass.
Player, leave me alone.
Alright then. You left me no choice.
Why did you...
No, that's better. Let's go.
Go where? It's the same everywhere. What are you doing? Player? That was rude.
I know.
Thank you, I guess.
I think I should keep an eye on sheep. It's been acting strange lately. I myself feel strange.
Player stumbles upon a sheep standing at the edge of a cliff, staring out in the distance. Worried, he asks what's going on, and sheep tells him that they feel drawn to the edge. Player panics, and despite the sheep telling him to leave them alone, he takes the matter into his own hands and stops them from jumping off. Sheep reluctantly thanks him and expresses that they're fed up with the infinite similarity of their life. Their world is a never-ending plain of empty fields, forests, and mountains. They don't see a point in going further because they can't find meaning in any of this. The sheep continues to stay near the cliffside, and Player watches them from afar until the sky becomes dark. After an unspecified amount of time, we switch to the continuation of this video called The Cliff. Player is walking around beneath a mountain and spots a cross-shaped hole on its side.
Another cross. I'll pretend it's a mere coincidence.
This could be a reference to nothing unusual, all the way back at the beginning of the timeline. He explores further. Walking alongside the wall of the mountain, he finds meat and a block of wool laying around.
A block of wool. I'll need it to make a bed.
He doesn't seem to question that it's there or the fact that something impossible just happened. His reaction makes even less sense considering his previous comment about the cross, which was referencing a video all about the fear of terrain looking too man-made. He picks up the block and says he'll need it to make a bed later on, which he's already tried multiple times and failed. We cut to Player near his house on a mountain opposite of the cliff, a different location from where we saw it last. This time, instead of one sheep, there's a whole flock of them, standing near the edge and jumping to their deaths.
The house is almost finished. That cliff. Why are there so many sheep? Why do they keep falling? Is this an accident or some kind of message? They're jumping so happily. Are they calling me to join? Are they warning me? I fear I'm running out of time. I should craft a bed. Or find one as soon as possible.
It's watching. This video begins with a stark contrast to the past couple of videos. Player or Shroompie don't speak a word, and the familiar buzzing is gone, instead replaced with the disc Cat, probably the happiest sounding song out of the alpha roster. They find themselves in a world filled with chunk errors, a very common corruption glitch during the alpha and beta days. By the way they're moving, you can tell they don't really know what they're looking at. Player comes up closer to the anomaly, and when they look at a pitch black cave, an eye appears in it. They notice it, but it doesn't seem to affect them much. They walk further into the corruption, and for the remainder of the video, these eyes flash around them. The first pair actually appeared when they were underwater, but they were there for less than a second. The video appears to be noticeably more peaceful and calm, but it really isn't. Besides the terrain corruption and creepy eyes, there's little details that make this video the weirdest one yet. In a part of the lake that's been caught off by a chunk error, a squid can be seen stuck under the flowing water, a mob that wasn't introduced into the game until beta 1.2, which this version certainly is not. The grass and leaves are neon green, a staple of Minecraft Alpha. The color remained in the game only until the version Alpha 1.1.201, making it impossible for a squid to spawn here. An additional problem is that the version tag is gone. It only stopped being displayed in beta 1.6.5, the exception being technically beta 1.1 since Notch forgot to add the font.txt file into that one. You could blame the fake 4:3 ratio blocking it, but that wasn't an issue in other uploads. It's just not there anymore. At one point a screenshot gets taken as well, and that wasn't possible prior to Alpha 1.2.0. Nothing really makes sense here. Not the eyes, not the game features that shouldn't exist yet, not the player's surroundings, or even the timeline. It's simply put, a mess. And the weirdest part about this is that this is the end of the alpha phase of the channel. As of now, this is the last upload made in alpha, besides a video of Shroompie standing still in a snow biome with the title, "In a month, 2010 will be 16 years ago." It just tells us that they're still reminiscing about what once was, but there's nothing about what the story brings next. The questions now, I guess, would be, where do we go from here? What was the purpose of these alpha videos? What was the reason for the version switch even? And how do these connect to the rest? Well, once Player died and No Way Out, it cemented the choice that Shroompie is gonna keep on going with the series, and that decision wasn't without consequence. And I think the switch to alpha symbolized the character's health dropping to a new low. This whole time as the series went by, we saw Shroompie and Player get progressively worse, with the real Shroompie piling on more and more oddities and strange happenings onto these characters. They kept choosing to make their mental and physical health spiral. With downgrading to alpha, they are stripping away all sense of familiarity and taking away features from an already primitive beta. Alpha lacks basic mechanics, has a lot less possibilities, and the variability of terrain, and anything else for that matter, is pretty much non-existent. The world around the characters changes suddenly, once again becoming unfamiliar and hostile, seeming like it's hopeless and empty. They don't even look for any safe place to hole up in, because they lost everything a second time. They don't see the point anymore. Their struggles all reach rock bottom, their surroundings, versions, and personalities are switching constantly, the world itself is deteriorating, rotting rapidly, deleting chunks and replacing them with random terrain. Features that shouldn't belong together, things that are outright not possible to happen, are in this one absurd concoction of a world where the mobs are beginning to lose interest in existing within the game, having the same thoughts Player does, because Shroompie's mind is so cluttered and lost that everything and everyone blends together. The alpha versions are a further regression of their already bad state, the most important aspect being their sleep. Them developing insomnia is shown through using a version of the game where sleep wasn't possible. In 2 videos, the beds they create are made out of blocks manually put on the ground, imitations that at most bring a sliver of hope that they might rest at some point. Everything is falling apart, and we were here to witness it from beginning to near end. You may notice, now that I show the inventory, their skin, it's not Steve anymore. It's different. And it definitely hasn't been like this the whole time. The skin is something that has been changing constantly in the background. In the Let's Play videos, the real Shroompie's skin is a personalized human character. In the beta series, it's Steve, a blank, emotionless, empty slate for anyone to embody, a figure that only visually represents a human being. And now, after everything, their body is a fungi-infected dirt block with their head replaced by a mushroom. An object that you'd expect to be a bigger part of the channel, but in the series it's a subtle detail, mentioned on a few sparse occasions. If you've paid very close attention as time went on, Shroompie's house was slowly being taken over by the fungus, most likely representing the disease overtaking them, spreading wherever it could. We have watched a person deteriorate. A person gradually losing themselves in a tragic story about memory loss, insomnia, depression, abandonment, and the entire time, as it was unraveling, the creator was reliving past traumas and dealing with current ones, creating an exaggerated, alternate timeline of what could have been, a possible fate that they might have suffered. And despite this feeling like a conclusion, and despite not having any videos left, there is an ending to this. One that was planned from the very beginning. The series circles back all the way to the first 5 videos. The 5th and 4th video have a very deceiving vibe about them. They seem to be cheap plays on nostalgia with not a lot of substance within them. A video with a title like Minecraft Nostalgia but you don't reminisce, you live it is as shallow as you can get. but in context, this is the most hidden in plain sight hint to what is happening to Shroompie. Both of the characters have become so attached to the game that they quite literally live it. It shows two identical series of photos of Shroompie's world and its progression. The two versions are excused by liking both the VHS filter version and the clean one, but it of course represents two characters being one and the same. In between the 4th and 5th video and what I'm about to show you, there is most definitely a missing link. A video or two that wasn't posted. Maybe something we won't ever see, but after the last alpha video, Shroompie would go on to get worse. They'd start losing themselves rapidly, and they'd end up back in their beta world in Sometimes Worlds Get Forgotten, the second video ever posted on the channel. Shroompie is walking on top of the mountain where their house resides. They have no items, and they wander in silence, looking around this once familiar terrain, seeing it as nothing but a hill with trees. They notice a part of their base, but they don't remember it anymore. They're lost, looking for some indication why they are here in the first place. As the sun begins to turn dark, the song Key plays, their favorite, the one thing that made them feel safe. They stumble, bumping into trees, and for a moment, stopping and cherishing the sunset. During the song's last few moments, they once again look at the skyline, possibly remembering the feeling this melody brought them. The song will very soon fade. On its last extended note, the screen is engulfed in static, and they realize that once it fades, they will fade away too. Without another sound, the video ends, morphing into the first ever upload titled, Sometimes My World Feels Odd. The play icon now flashes. After one last visit to their world, this entire journey is reduced to a slideshow of memories on a paused VHS tape. Them and their loved one spending time together in their home. A look at their finished house. A flash of the person they cared about. One last look before they leave their life forever. Their base with an unfinished moat, a reminder of their first memory slip. Their house before it was entirely infected. Revisiting the spot where they last saw their person, realizing they won't ever come back. And the last photo, one that lingers just a few seconds longer. It's time to go. You can't change the past, but you can change your memories of it.
Hello, player.
You can distort and reshape them however you want.
No.
Convince yourself that's how it truly was.
Drawn to the edge.
That's what everyone does, willingly or not. It's inevitable. But it may happen that amidst all the fog, you may find what you tried to forget. Before I leave, I wouldn't want to end this on such a devastating note. It wouldn't be good for anybody, really. This channel and series, as Shroompie said themselves, was born out of being sad and bored all the time and wanting to create something worthwhile. During the time they started, I think this story and the imaginary Shroompie and the character of player had one very specific ending. It was set in stone right away, a reminder that their life, no matter how long, no matter how eventful, is only gonna end one way. It's a finale that, fortunately, I don't think applies anymore. During this video's creation, there has been a bit of a shift in the channel. A recent one, but one nonetheless. There was a video uploaded in between the alpha ones, a video titled, I Hope You Find Peace and a Place to Call Home. It's similar to the style of A Little Lost. It involves staring at a landscape and pondering life, but it's not even remotely close to its messaging. What a cozy place to stop by, stand and ponder. Looking at this lava flow really takes my mind off of things. I need something like this in real life, too. It feels like home. A home is a place you feel at peace. I wish my real home felt that way. Maybe one day. I am very uncertain of the future. Thinking about it makes me feel anxious and scared. I'm afraid of making the wrong choice and regretting it, or regretting never making the right choice. Maybe I should stop overthinking. Maybe it's better to focus on the smaller tasks at hand. Maybe it's better to take care of myself in the meantime. And then I'll eventually will see it was all worth it. And the future me will look back at me from the past and think how silly that really was. I hope it will be this way. And you, who is reading this right now, I hope it will be like this for you too. I hope you will find peace. And a place you can call home. Thank you for sticking around. Let's enjoy the rest of this peaceful, quiet night. Shroompie is doubtful of the future, of what exactly life will bring, but there's a spark of hope. They want change. They're trying, and their latest upload shows us that they're going into a really good direction. After quitting their job as a teacher, they finally found a new position, a new, better place where even Shroompie is surprised to say so, but it's a place that they enjoy working at. The environment feels safer, better, and they love their students. They sometimes talk about Minecraft with them, and the students bring them little Minecraft-related gifts. In this video, they talk about how a student asked them what their favorite mob is, and they randomly blurted out that it's a chicken, because they were caught off guard and couldn't think of anything. They decided to honor it by building a statue, and it looks, well, it definitely exists, you know? Shroompie gets a long, genuine laugh out of it, and it's a joy to watch.
Chicken's beak is orange, isn't it? This is perfect.
Despite everything, Shroompie seems a lot happier, and I hope it will stay that way.